The morning sun cast long shadows across the grounds of Windsor Castle as Princess and made her way through the ancient corridors, her footsteps echoing against the stone walls that had witnessed centuries of royal drama. At 73, she remained as formidable as ever, her silver hair pulled back in her signature style, her expression carrying the weight of someone who had seen the monarchy weather countless storms. Today, however, something felt different in the air, a tension that seemed to permeate even the most sacred halls of the British royal family. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, sat in her private study overlooking the castle gardens, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea that had long since grown cold. The morning newspapers lay scattered across her desk, their headlines a mixture of praise and criticism that had become all too familiar in recent months. The pressure of being the future queen consort weighed heavily on her shoulders, especially as she navigated the complex web of royal relationships that seemed to grow more complicated with each passing day. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from her private secretary, each one bringing news of another engagement, another appearance, another opportunity to represent the crown with the grace and dignity that the public expected. Meanwhile, Prince William paced the length of his office in Kensington Palace, his jaw set in a way that those closest to him recognized as a sign of deep frustration. The heir to the throne faced pressures that few could understand, the constant scrutiny of every decision, every word, every gesture analyzed and dissected by media outlets around the world. Recent weeks had brought particular challenges, with whispers in the press about disagreements within the royal family, speculation about his relationship with other senior royals, and questions about his readiness to one day take on the enormous responsibility of kingship. The genesis of the current tensions could be traced back several months, to what palace insiders would later describe as a series of misunderstandings that had been allowed to fester. It had started with seemingly minor disagreements about royal protocol, about the direction of modernizing the monarchy, and about how to handle various charitable initiatives. These small fractures had gradually widened, creating divisions that threatened to undermine the very unity that the royal family needed to maintain in an era when public support for the monarchy could no longer be taken for granted. King Charles, now well into his reign, found himself in the delicate position of trying to balance tradition with the need for change, all while managing the personalities and ambitions of his family members. The weight of the crown sat heavily on his shoulders, and he often found himself longing for the simpler days when he was merely the heir apparent. The constant pressure to make decisions that would affect not just his family, but the entire nation had taken its toll, and those close to him could see the strain in his eyes, even as he maintained his public composure. Princess Anne had watched these developments with the keen eye of someone who had spent decades observing the inner workings of the royal machine. As the only daughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II, she had inherited her mother's no-nonsense approach to royal duty and her ability to see through the surface drama to the underlying issues that really mattered. She had witnessed the monarchy survive scandals, divorces, deaths, and countless other challenges, and she understood better than most that sometimes the family needed someone to step in and remind everyone of what truly mattered. The catalyst for action came during a particularly difficult week, when the press coverage reached a fever pitch. Tabloid headlines screamed about alleged rifts between William and other family members. Speculation ran wild about Catherine's role in various disagreements, and opinion pieces questioned whether the younger generation of royals were ready to carry on the traditions that had sustained the monarchy for over 1,000 years. Palace staff moved through the halls with worried expressions, and even the most experienced courtiers seemed uncertain about how to navigate the turbulent waters. It was during this period of uncertainty that Princess Anne made a decision that would prove to be pivotal. She had never been one for dramatic gestures or public displays of emotion, but she recognized that sometimes action spoke louder than words. She understood that the royal family's strength had always come from its ability to present a united front to the world, regardless of whatever private disagreements might exist behind closed doors. The monarchy's survival depended not just on individual members fulfilling their duties, but on their ability to support each other through difficult times. Catherine felt the weight of expectation more acutely than ever as she prepared for what would become a crucial series of public engagements. The role of the Princess of Wales came with immense responsibility, and she was acutely aware that her every move was being watched and analyzed. She had spent years learning the intricate rules and protocols of royal life, but nothing could have fully prepared her for the intensity of the spotlight that now followed her everywhere. Yet despite the pressure, she remained committed to the causes that mattered to her and determined to use her position to make a positive difference in the world. William, too, grappled with the enormous expectations placed on his shoulders. As the future king, he carried the hopes and dreams of a nation, but he also carried the very human burden of wanting to protect his family while serving his country. The delicate balance between public duty and private life had always been challenging for members of the royal family. But in an age of social media and instant global communication, that challenge had become even more complex. Every decision he made rippled outward, affecting not just his immediate family, but the entire institution of the monarchy. The palace walls seemed to whisper with secrets and speculation as staff members went about their daily duties. Long-serving employees who had seen the family through previous crises recognized the signs of tension, but they also understood that the royal family had always found ways to overcome their challenges. The strength of the institution lay not in its perfection, but in its ability to adapt and endure through changing times while maintaining the core values that made it relevant to the British people. As the days passed, it became increasingly clear that something needed to be done to address the growing narrative of division within the royal family. The press had seized upon every perceived slight, every moment of awkwardness, every instance where family members appeared less than completely harmonious. What the public didn't see were the countless private moments of support, the behind-the-scenes conversations where family members worked through their differences, and the genuine affection that existed between people who, despite their unique circumstances, remained fundamentally a family. Princess Anne's decision to take action was characteristic of her approach to royal life: practical, decisive, and focused on what was best for the institution rather than what might be most comfortable for the individuals involved. She had spent decades serving the crown with distinction, earning respect both within the royal family and among the British public for her tireless work ethic and straightforward manner. Now, she saw an opportunity to use her unique position and perspective to help heal the rifts that threatened to damage not just personal relationships, but the monarchy itself. The first signs of her intervention came quietly, as was her way. Palace staff noticed an increase in communication between different royal households, private meetings that weren't recorded in official diaries, and subtle changes in the way various family members interacted with each other. Those who had worked with Princess Anne for years recognized the signs of her particular brand of royal diplomacy, effective precisely because it was conducted away from the public eye and focused on practical solutions rather than emotional drama. Catherine found herself receiving unexpected support from quarters she hadn't expected, quiet words of encouragement, and practical advice that helped her navigate the challenging waters of public scrutiny. The isolation that had sometimes characterized her position began to lift as she realized that other family members understood and appreciated the unique pressures she faced. This support would prove crucial in the days and weeks to come, as she prepared to step into an even more prominent role in royal life. William, too, began to sense a shift in the family dynamics. Conversations that had been strained became more natural, and he found himself receiving the kind of backing that reminded him he wasn't facing his challenges alone. The burden of being the heir to the throne remained enormous, but it felt more manageable when shared with family members who understood the weight of royal responsibility and were committed to helping him succeed. The stage was being set for a demonstration of royal unity that would capture the public's attention and remind everyone why the monarchy had endured for so many centuries. Princess Anne's quiet but determined efforts were beginning to bear fruit, creating the foundation for what would become a powerful display of family solidarity in the face of external pressures and internal challenges. The autumn air carried a crispness that seemed to mirror the clarity that Princess Anne brought to her mission of strengthening family bonds. Her approach was methodical and deliberate, drawing on decades of experience in managing both royal protocol and family relationships. She understood that grand gestures might capture headlines, but lasting change came through persistent, thoughtful action behind the scenes. Her first priority was to create opportunities for meaningful dialogue between family members who had allowed misunderstandings to create distance between them. Catherine's days had taken on a new rhythm as she found herself invited to private dinners and informal meetings that hadn't appeared on any official schedule. These gatherings, orchestrated with Princess Anne's characteristic subtlety, provided safe spaces for honest conversation away from the ever-present scrutiny of the media. During one such evening at Gatcombe Park, Princess Anne's country estate, Catherine discovered that many of her concerns about royal life were shared by other family members who had walked similar paths. The conversation flowed more easily than it had in months, touching on everything from the challenges of raising children in the public eye to the difficulty of balancing personal convictions with public expectations. William found himself engaged in conversations with his aunt that reminded him of the wisdom that came from her unique perspective within the royal family. Princess Anne had navigated her own share of challenges during her decades of public service, and her insights proved invaluable as William grappled with questions about modernizing the monarchy while respecting its traditions. She helped him understand that leadership within the royal family wasn't just about making decisions, but about creating consensus and ensuring that all family members felt valued and supported in their roles. The ripple effects of these private conversations began to show in public appearances that seemed more relaxed and genuine than they had in recent memory. When Catherine and William attended a charity gala together, observers noted a warmth between them that felt authentic rather than performed. Their interaction with other family members present seemed natural and comfortable, a stark contrast to the stilted formality that had characterized some recent joint appearances. The media, ever alert to signs of royal drama, found themselves instead documenting moments of apparent harmony and mutual support. Behind the scenes, Princess Anne worked tirelessly to address the specific issues that had contributed to the family tensions. She understood that many of the problems stemmed from miscommunication and competing priorities rather than fundamental disagreements. Her years of experience had taught her that royal family dynamics were complex precisely because every member carried enormous responsibilities while also trying to maintain personal relationships under extraordinary circumstances. She set about creating structures that would prevent future misunderstandings while addressing current concerns. King Charles found himself benefiting from his sister's diplomatic efforts in ways that surprised even him. The burden of leadership had felt particularly heavy in recent months as he tried to balance his vision for the monarchy's future with the need to maintain family unity. Princess Anne's intervention created space for conversations that had been difficult to have amid the pressures of official duties and public expectations. Father and son discussions between Charles and William became more productive, focusing on shared goals rather than points of disagreement. The palace staff, who had grown accustomed to managing the delicate protocols required when family relationships were strained, began to notice a shift in the atmosphere. Meetings that had once been formal affairs became more collaborative, with family members openly discussing their perspectives and working together to find solutions. The change was subtle but unmistakable, and even the most experienced courtiers found themselves optimistic about the family's ability to present a united front during challenging times. Catherine's role in these developing dynamics proved crucial as she began to emerge as a bridge between different generations and perspectives within the family. Her outsider origins, which had once been seen as a potential liability, now became an asset as she could offer fresh perspectives on long-standing traditions and practices. Her commitment to her royal duties had never been in question, but now her unique insights were being valued and incorporated into family discussions about the monarchy's future direction. The media landscape began to shift as well, though slowly and often imperceptibly. Journalists who had grown accustomed to writing stories about royal tensions found themselves struggling to find evidence of the dramatic rifts they had been documenting. Instead, they began to notice small but significant signs of family solidarity, shared glances during official ceremonies, supportive gestures during challenging moments, and a general sense that the royal family was working together rather than against each other. Princess Anne's strategy extended beyond immediate family relationships to include the broader network of people who supported the royal family's work. She understood that lasting change required buy-in from everyone involved, from senior courtiers to junior staff members. Her conversations with palace officials emphasized the importance of creating an environment where family unity could flourish, even amid the pressures of royal life. This meant adjusting protocols where necessary and ensuring that official schedules allowed for the kind of personal interaction that strengthened family bonds. William's perspective on his future role began to evolve as he realized that effective royal leadership wasn't just about individual excellence, but about creating conditions where all family members could contribute their unique strengths. The competitive dynamics that had sometimes characterized royal relationships gave way to a more collaborative approach that emphasized mutual support and shared responsibility. This shift was particularly evident in how he and Catherine began to coordinate their public engagements and charitable work, presenting themselves as partners rather than individuals pursuing parallel paths. The transformation wasn't without its challenges. Old habits and patterns of behavior don't change overnight, and there were moments when the familiar tensions threatened to resurface. However, Princess Anne's patient but persistent efforts had created new frameworks for addressing these challenges before they could escalate into major problems. Family members found themselves with better tools for communication and clearer understanding of each other's perspectives and pressures. Catherine's confidence in her role as Princess of Wales grew noticeably during this period, supported by the knowledge that she had genuine backing from other family members. The isolation she had sometimes felt as she navigated the unique challenges of her position began to dissipate as she realized that others understood and appreciated her contributions. This support translated into more effective public engagements and a greater willingness to take on challenging initiatives that required coordination with other royal family members. The international attention focused on the British royal family meant that these changes had implications far beyond the borders of the United Kingdom. Foreign media outlets and royal watchers around the world had been documenting the apparent tensions within the family, but now they found themselves reporting on signs of renewed harmony and cooperation. This shift in narrative had practical implications for the monarchy's soft power and its ability to represent British interests on the global stage. As the autumn season progressed, the groundwork that Princess Anne had laid began to manifest in more visible ways. Joint appearances that had once seemed obligatory now appeared genuine. Family members seemed more comfortable in each other's presence, and the overall atmosphere surrounding royal events became more positive and engaging. These changes didn't happen overnight, but they represented a fundamental shift in how the family approached both their public responsibilities and their private relationships. The success of Princess Anne's quiet diplomacy became a template for how the royal family could address future challenges. Rather than allowing problems to fester or relying on public relations strategies to manage perceptions, the family had demonstrated that honest dialogue and mutual support could resolve even seemingly intractable difficulties. This approach would prove invaluable as the monarchy continued to evolve and adapt to changing social and political circumstances while maintaining its essential character and purpose. The foundation had been laid for what would soon become a very public demonstration of the royal family's renewed unity. But the real success of Princess Anne's efforts lay in the genuine improvement in family relationships that would endure long after the media attention faded. The royal family had rediscovered its strength as a family unit, and that strength would serve them well in the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The crisp November morning brought with it an atmosphere of anticipation that seemed to electrify the very air around Buckingham Palace. Today would mark the first major public demonstration of the royal family's renewed unity, though few outside the inner circle fully understood the significance of what was about to unfold. The Remembrance Day ceremonies at the Cenotaph had always been among the most solemn and important events in the royal calendar, but this year they would carry additional weight as the world watched to see how the family would present itself after months of speculation about internal divisions. Catherine stood before her mirror in the early morning hours, adjusting the black coat and hat that had been carefully selected for the day's events. The weight of the moment wasn't lost on her. This would be one of the most closely scrutinized appearances she had made in months, with every gesture and expression analyzed for signs of either harmony or discord within the royal family. However, the anxiety that might have accompanied such scrutiny in earlier months had been replaced by a quiet confidence that came from knowing she had genuine support from other family members. Princess Anne's preparations for the day were characteristically efficient and focused. She understood better than most that the success of public royal events depended not just on individual performances, but on the seamless coordination of all family members. Her weeks of behind-the-scenes work had been building toward moments like this, where the royal family's ability to function as a unified institution would be on full display. The conversations she had facilitated and the understanding she had helped to foster would now be tested in the most public arena possible. William's morning routine carried an extra sense of purpose as he prepared to take his place among the senior royals at one of the nation's most important commemorative events. The heir to the throne understood that his role extended far beyond simply laying a wreath or standing at attention during the ceremony. His presence, his demeanor, and his interactions with other family members would be read as indicators of the monarchy's stability and unity. The pressure was immense, but the support system that Princess Anne had helped to rebuild gave him confidence that he would not be facing this challenge alone. The logistics of royal events are always complex, but the Remembrance Day ceremonies require particularly precise coordination. Palace staff had spent weeks planning every detail, from the exact timing of arrivals to the specific positions each family member would occupy during the various parts of the ceremony. What was different this year was the sense of collaboration that characterized these planning sessions. Instead of the careful navigation of potential points of conflict that had marked recent events, staff found themselves working with family members who seemed genuinely committed to making the day a success for everyone involved. As the royal family members made their way to their various starting positions, the change in dynamics was immediately apparent to those who knew them well. Conversations flowed more naturally. There was genuine warmth in their interactions, and the formal protocols seemed to enhance rather than constrain their ability to support each other. Catherine found herself receiving quiet words of encouragement from family members who understood the particular pressure she faced, while William benefited from the kind of natural camaraderie that made even solemn occasions more manageable. The moment when the royal family appeared together on the balcony of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office building to observe the ceremony was one that would be replayed countless times in media coverage around the world. What viewers saw was a family that appeared genuinely unified, standing together not just out of obligation, but with evident mutual respect and support. The body language, the small gestures of consideration between family members, and the overall atmosphere conveyed a sense of harmony that had been missing from recent public appearances. Catherine's position during the ceremony had been the subject of considerable advanced speculation, with royal watchers analyzing every aspect of the arrangements for clues about her standing within the family hierarchy. However, the reality was far simpler and more positive than the complicated dynamics that had been imagined. She took her place with confidence, surrounded by family members who had made it clear through word and deed that they valued her contributions and supported her role as the future queen consort. The wreath-laying ceremony itself provided perhaps the most powerful visual evidence of the royal family's renewed unity. As William stepped forward to lay his wreath at the cenotaph, representing his generation of the royal family, the support of his relatives was evident not just in their respectful attention, but in the subtle signs of encouragement and solidarity that passed between them. The moment was both deeply solemn and genuinely moving, representing not just remembrance of those who had given their lives in service to their country, but also the continuity and strength of the institution they had died to defend. Princess Anne's satisfaction as she watched the ceremony unfold was not visible to the cameras, but those who knew her well could see it in the way she carried herself and the quiet confidence in her demeanor. Her months of patient work were bearing fruit in exactly the way she had hoped, not through dramatic gestures or obvious displays, but through the genuine restoration of family bonds that allowed each member to perform their duties with the support and backing of their relatives. The media coverage of the event marked a significant turning point in the narrative surrounding the royal family. Journalists who had grown accustomed to writing about tensions and divisions found themselves instead documenting moments of obvious mutual support and genuine affection. The speculation and analysis that had characterized recent coverage gave way to more straightforward reporting about a family that appeared to be working together effectively in service of their shared responsibilities. Behind the scenes, palace staff noticed the difference immediately. Events that had required careful choreography to avoid potential awkwardness now flowed naturally, with family members instinctively supporting each other and presenting a united front. The change wasn't just about public appearances. It reflected a fundamental shift in how the royal family approached their collective responsibilities and individual relationships. The international response to the day's events was overwhelmingly positive, with foreign media outlets noting the evident harmony within the British royal family. This response had practical implications beyond mere public relations, as the monarchy's effectiveness in representing British interests abroad depended heavily on its perceived stability and unity. The successful demonstration of family solidarity strengthened the royal family's position both domestically and internationally. For Catherine personally, the day represented a milestone in her journey as a member of the royal family. The confidence she displayed, the natural way she interacted with other family members, and the evident respect with which she was treated marked her emergence as a fully established senior royal. The nervous uncertainty that had sometimes characterized her earlier public appearances had been replaced by the kind of assured competence that comes from knowing you have genuine support from those around you. William's performance during the ceremony demonstrated his readiness to take on even greater responsibilities within the royal family. The heir to the throne carried himself with a dignity and gravitas that befitted his position, while also showing the kind of emotional intelligence and collaborative spirit that would serve him well as future king. His interactions with other family members throughout the day showed that he understood leadership within the royal family to be about bringing out the best in everyone rather than dominating through individual excellence. The success of the day's events provided a template for how the royal family could approach future challenges and opportunities. The combination of careful preparation, genuine mutual support, and shared commitment to their collective responsibilities had produced results that exceeded even the most optimistic expectations. The foundation that Princess Anne had helped to rebuild was proving to be both strong and flexible, capable of supporting the royal family through both routine duties and extraordinary circumstances. As the formal ceremony concluded and the royal family began to disperse to their various other commitments, there was a sense that something significant had been accomplished. The public demonstration of unity was important, but perhaps more crucial was the confirmation that the improved family dynamics were genuine and sustainable. The royal family had rediscovered its ability to function as both an institution and a family, and that discovery would serve them well in the months and years to come. The weeks following the Remembrance Day ceremonies brought a sense of renewed energy and purpose to the royal family's collective work. The public demonstration of unity had been important, but perhaps more significant was the way that improved family dynamics began to enhance every aspect of their royal duties. Palace staff noticed that coordination between different royal households had become smoother and more effective. Joint initiatives were being planned with genuine enthusiasm rather than mere obligation, and the overall atmosphere surrounding royal events had become noticeably more positive and productive. Catherine found herself embracing her role with a new sense of confidence and purpose that reflected the solid foundation of family support she now enjoyed. The charitable initiatives that were closest to her heart began to receive enhanced backing from other family members, creating opportunities for collaboration that strengthened both the impact of the work and the bonds between the royals involved. Her early childhood development program, which had previously operated somewhat independently, now began to benefit from connections and expertise offered by relatives who shared her commitment to making a meaningful difference in people's lives. Princess Anne's quiet satisfaction with the transformation she had helped to orchestrate was evident in her continued efforts to maintain and strengthen the family unity that had been rebuilt. She understood that the work was far from complete. Lasting change required ongoing attention and care to ensure that old patterns of miscommunication and misunderstanding didn't resurface. Her approach remained characteristically practical and understated, but those who worked closely with her could see that she was deeply committed to ensuring that the royal family continued to function as both an effective institution and a supportive family unit. William's evolution as a leader within the royal family became increasingly apparent as he took on new responsibilities and challenges with the backing of relatives who shared his vision for the monarchy's future. The heir to the throne began to demonstrate a collaborative leadership style that drew on the strengths of all family members while maintaining clear direction and purpose. His relationship with his father, King Charles, deepened as they worked together on initiatives that bridged their different perspectives and generations, creating a model for how royal leadership could be both respectful of tradition and responsive to changing circumstances. The transformation in family dynamics had practical implications that extended far beyond personal relationships. International visits and state occasions began to showcase a royal family that worked together seamlessly, presenting a unified image of British values and interests to the world. Foreign dignitaries and officials noted the evident harmony within the family and the professional competence with which they handled complex diplomatic situations. This enhanced effectiveness strengthened the monarchy's role as a tool of British soft power and cultural influence. Catherine's emergence as a senior royal with genuine confidence and authority was perhaps nowhere more evident than in her handling of challenging situations that might have previously caused anxiety or uncertainty. When controversy arose around one of her charitable initiatives, she found herself supported not just by her immediate staff, but by family members who understood the pressure she faced and were committed to helping her succeed. This support allowed her to address the challenges directly and effectively, turning a potential crisis into an opportunity to demonstrate both her competence and the royal family's ability to work together under pressure. The media landscape continued to evolve as journalists and commentators adjusted to the new reality of a royal family that seemed genuinely united in their approach to both personal relationships and public duties. Stories that had once focused on alleged tensions and divisions gave way to coverage that highlighted successful joint initiatives, effective collaboration, and the positive impact of the royal family's coordinated efforts. This shift in narrative created a more supportive environment for all family members while also enhancing public appreciation for the monarchy's role in British life. Princess Anne's role as the architect of this transformation remained largely invisible to the public, which was exactly how she preferred it. Her satisfaction came not from recognition or credit, but from seeing the royal family functioning effectively as both institution and family. The conversations she had facilitated, the understanding she had helped to foster, and The structure she had put in place to prevent future misunderstandings had created a foundation that would support the family through whatever challenges lay ahead. The holiday season provided numerous opportunities for the royal family to demonstrate their renewed harmony. From the traditional Christmas morning walk to St. Mary Magdalene Church at Sandringham to the various charitable events that mark the end of a year. These occasions, which might once have been sources of tension or awkwardness, now became celebrations of family unity and shared purpose. The genuine warmth and affection that characterized family interactions was evident to all who observed them, creating a positive atmosphere that enhanced both the personal enjoyment of these occasions and their public impact. William and Catherine's approach to raising their children began to benefit from the enhanced family support system that Princess Anne had helped to create. The young royals found themselves surrounded not just by their immediate family, but by a broader network of relatives who were committed to their well-being and development. This support was particularly valuable as the children began to take on small public roles and learn about their future responsibilities within the royal family. The success of the transformation extended beyond the immediate royal family to include the broader network of people who supported their work. Palace staff, charity partners, and government officials all noted the improved atmosphere and enhanced effectiveness that characterized royal operations. The collaborative spirit that now marked family relationships translated into more productive working relationships across all aspects of royal life, creating a virtuous cycle of improved performance and increased satisfaction among all involved. King Charles found that the family unity Princess Anne had helped to rebuild enhanced his own effectiveness as monarch. The burden of leadership felt more manageable when shared with family members who were genuinely committed to supporting each other and working toward common goals. His vision for the monarchy's future began to take shape more clearly as family discussions became more productive and collaborative, allowing for the kind of honest dialogue that was essential for navigating complex challenges and opportunities. The international recognition of the royal family's renewed effectiveness had tangible benefits for British interests around the world. State visits and diplomatic engagements became more successful as foreign officials encountered a royal family that clearly worked well together and presented a unified image of British values and capabilities. The soft power that the monarchy provided to British diplomacy was enhanced by the evident harmony and competence of the family members who represented the country on the global stage. As the year drew to a close, the transformation that Princess Anne had quietly orchestrated seemed complete, though she understood that maintaining family unity would require ongoing attention and care. The royal family had rediscovered its strength as both an institution and a family, creating a foundation that would serve them well in facing future challenges and opportunities. The success of her efforts was measured not in headlines or public recognition, but in the genuine improvement in family relationships and the enhanced effectiveness with which all members could fulfill their royal duties. Catherine's journey from outsider to established senior royal was now complete, marked by confidence, competence, and the secure knowledge that she had the genuine support of her royal relatives. Her relationship with other family members had evolved from mere cordiality to genuine warmth and mutual respect, creating the kind of foundation that would support her through the decades of service that lay ahead as she prepared for her eventual role as queen consort. William's development as a future king had been enhanced immeasurably by the improved family dynamics that allowed him to learn from and collaborate with relatives who brought different perspectives and experiences to royal life. The competitive tensions that had sometimes characterized royal relationships had given way to a collaborative approach that emphasized mutual support and shared responsibility for the monarchy's success and continuity. The royal family's ability to weather storms and emerge stronger was once again demonstrated, proving that the institution's greatest strength lay not in its traditions or protocols, but in its capacity for adaptation and renewal. Princess Anne's quiet but determined efforts had reminded everyone involved that the monarchy's effectiveness depended ultimately on the human relationships that sustained it, and that those relationships, when properly nurtured, could overcome any challenge and create the foundation for continued success and relevance in an ever-changing world.